On February 4th, 2002, 62-year-old Frances Jones, a longtime anti-crime activist, was killed in the driveway of her Sandusky Avenue home.
My mother was a good provider, and she took care of all her kids. She even helped out with her grandkids. She was a loving mom. I would never trade her for nothing.
She was an understanding lady, loving. She had 4 kids, tons of grandkids.
She had a big family. She loved her family. She loved her neighbors, loved the kids in the area. I mean, everybody knew her.
She was beautiful, inside and out. She was fun to be around.
Very kind, very giving, but she was tough, and she wanted better for her neighborhoods. She did what she could to help.
Mrs. Jones was 62 years old. She was a cancer survivor. She was being treated for it. She would be probably nominated for sainthood. She did a lot for not only her community, her neighborhood, and her family. I mean, Mrs. Jones was the type of person, she stood up to these little punks on the street that try and take over. She tried to teach them, tried to work with them, done a lot of things that you would want a neighbor to be, that you would want a neighbor to do. The kids all knew her. Everybody respected her in the whole neighborhood, and that's really something.
She always was willing to help and give advice and just there to listen to people's situations and problems.
If I had any troubles or problems, I can always go to her. And she always come up with the right solution. She just knew just what to say.
There's not one person on that street that would have a bad thing to say about Miss Frances Jones. On Monday, February 4, 2002, while working with the Homicide Unit of the Cleveland Police Department, I and several members of the Homicide Unit were to respond to an address at 10605 Sandusky Avenue. We had a report of a female that was shot and died on a scene. During our arrival, we found her to be Miss Frances Jones. Miss Jones received multiple gunshot wounds. During the investigation, we learned the following. During the night that she was shot to death, she was volunteering. She was operating a phone bank. She left work, came home. On the way coming home, she stopped. She picked up a couple hamburgers, some French fries, and a couple beverages for her and her husband. We know that there were several people that broke into her house. We believe that there was at least 2 people, possibly 3 people that entered the Jones house. Nobody was home. They broke in through the side door. We know that they probably had been in the Jones house several times before, because as they broke in, they went to a specific area downstairs. They tore up a room looking for something. Parts of the walls were ripped up. Parts of the ceilings were ripped up. When they weren't able to find it, second best thing is, hey, we're going to take the TV set, we're going to take the computers. They pile up everything in a nice little pile up there. And I think at that point in time where they had everything, this is when this whole thing took place. And it was about 8 o'clock in the evening. She pulled in her driveway. We believe that she parked her car in the garage, got out. She has both her hands full of her purse. She's going into her house. At the time she reaches the halfway point in her driveway, they were exiting her house at that time. It's our belief as investigators, Ms. Jones probably knew, probably recognized the people that broke into her house. There was a decision that made, and it was a bad decision at that time. They wanted to silence Mrs. Jones. A gun came out, several shots were fired. Ms. Jones was fatally struck, and she waited on her driveway until her husband, Donald, came home later that evening and discovered her. At this point in time, our investigation showed that there was a vehicle parked the next street over. And we believe the suspects shot Mrs. Jones, ran through the backyard to a vehicle that was waiting for them.
My brother called me that night. He told me to get to Metro. He told me that she was shot. That's all he told me. And when I got to Metro, that's when he told me that she had died.
It's kind of surreal because when I got a call that she had been shot, it just didn't register. I mean, who would shoot her?
Once again, she was needlessly shot at. She was needlessly murdered. We know that the guns were shot with a semi-automatic handgun. that would be the weapon of choice out there.
We don't have a clue as to why somebody would shoot her in her own driveway. You know, if you're gonna break in her house, then leave. They didn't have to kill her. She was a human being. She wasn't an animal. She wasn't attacking anybody. She didn't deserve that. And we just need to know why and who.
I just want to know who did this to my mom before I leave this earth. I think about her every day, constantly. I miss my mom.
She was important to a lot of people, especially to us, her family. And to take her away from us, it just leaves a hole in your heart. You really don't know how to go from day to day without, you know, that special person in your life that you always look to.
At this time, we're pleading for help. There are people that know things out there. I mean, we didn't have one person involved in this. We had several people involved with it. And it's tough to keep a secret like that. You killed an innocent woman, period.